Hi, welcome to This Week in Property. I'm Jayashree Kurup. I'm editor of Magicbricks, and I have with me Prabhakar Sinha. He's a real estate editor, Times of India. Today we're talking about an issue that concerns a lot of consumers, especially around the NCR and even in other parts of the country. If you have, this concerns ongoing projects. If the unit that you bought is in one of the phases that is not complete and the project is registered under RERA, what should you be doing? And if it's not registered under RERA, what should you be doing? Prabhakar, a big issue for millions of home buyers across the country, and we thought an NCR is actually leading in the number of consumers who have problems. So let's talk about the different scenarios and what you should be doing. We had a question from one of our viewers, Prasun, who said that he has bought in Greater Noida, and he has bought in bought a unit in one of 15 towers. Up to tower number 8 is complete, the rest is not complete. Now his project is in one of the incomplete towers. The developer is giving him a choice: why don't you shift to one of the completed towers where there are extra flats which are not sold, and you can come and buy it. What do you suggest in such a case?
He should go for it. In fact, in this market, waiting for his apartment to be completed may take some time. And the issue is this: if he is moving to the completed projects, then at least he will get some return from that. Either he can start living in that flat, or he can rent it out, still he can make money. And if he is still living in his own apartment, it may take, I mean, nobody knows that how much time it will take, whether the developer has the money to complete the project, I mean, how many units of that tower have been sold. And if it has not been sold completely, then where from the money will come to complete the projects, because there are no lender who is going to give the money. So what I will suggest him, that in this market at least, he should go for the completed project itself, I mean the completed tower one, and he should, I mean, buy it in exchange. And here in these cases, what I have seen, that the developers is given some sort of, not concession, but the price at which he bought the other tower, the same price he gives him in this completed towers also. So he should not be paying any extra amount of money also. So with those kind of terms, you should go for it.
Actually, there are many things that you should consider. And when Prabhakar says at this time, there are many reasons why we feel that this is a special time. One, there is a capital adequacy issue. There are a lot of projects that were delayed inordinately for a long period of time. Some have borrowings against them. Some, the consumers have paid the money. Much of the money that came in for those projects have been used for either paying salaries or for buying other land and things like that.
Or completed the earlier projects. But your project, the amount of money that you have given, is that available to complete the project? In many cases, no. Therefore, if there is one unit that is completed in a completed tower, we would suggest that you should actually go for that, because that ensures that at least you have a completed unit. In fact, one of the developers that we spoke to in Navi Mumbai, he said, please go for the completed projects. He's also a conciliator with the Maharera, and he suggested that please go for a completed unit, because a bird in hand is worth two in the bush. So if you know that there are going to be problems with completion of other towers, if you get a completed project, please pick it up. Yeah, exactly.
Now, Prabhakar, another consumer has written to us that he has paid 3 PLCs for the unit that he had chosen. He had asked for a pool-facing unit, he had asked for a corner, and I think he had asked for a south-facing unit. Now, 3 PLCs, the unit that he is getting in the completed project does not match any of this. So what should the consumer do at this stage?
In this case, first of all, he should ask for the refund of those PLC, and I believe that developers should be paying him back that much money, or he should go for the bigger size of the flat, so that all this PLC could be consumed in that, and he should get that flat.
Right.
But he must shift, what I am suggesting him, that he must shift in the completed one, because waiting for the incomplete project to complete, I don't know, nobody knows today that how much time it takes. I know in some cases where the almost painting and all that had been started, and for in around 1 year back, and the project has not been completed as yet, because it is not getting the CC and project is hold up. So, I mean, you don't know at what stage any project can get hold up because of certain problems or the other.
Right.
So, it is better to shift to the completed tower so that you will have a flat at least in your hand.
Right.
So, now if the PLC is paid, ask for the refund and developer should pay it back, and if developer doesn't have money, go for the bigger size of the flat so that all this special PLC that you have paid is consumed.
And if it is not, today the unit that this gentleman has bought is in a incomplete project, which means that he has, it will be under RERA. When he moves to a completed unit, in the completed phase, that means that project is off RERA, right?
That doesn't matter. Now, whether it is, at least he is going to get the flat, no? Then only it will be off RERA. Now, the issue is this, RERA is for what? RERA is to get your projects completed only,
Right.
no? Now, if the project is completed once, so RERA is not required in that cases. So, don't worry about that. Only thing is this, that certain clause that, okay, if any fault is come in the structural, then the 5 years will be looked after, I mean, RERA can look after that. Those things are important, but in this case, at least you are going to get a flat, shift there. If you think that this is not good, sell it, because completed project can be sold out. You sell it and move to some other projects.
Right.
But at least you move and then you exit from there. If you think that this is not good enough, or the structure is not good, or the construction is not good, then you move out.
You know, last week, many of the JP buyers, after the NCLT clause failed, and there was a recommendation that it should go into insolvency, that's when the consumers have taken things in their own hands and they've started beating the media. Now, we had some of the consumers who brought photographs to us. In one of the projects, JP has handed over the flats to the consumer, saying that the OC has been received. But the consumer has photographs of flats where the plastering is still left. There is rods sticking out, and it's just in various stages of incompletion. What should a consumer do? What do you think?
First of all, in this case, particularly in the case of JP, the buyer can approach to the authority, that Noida authority also, because Noida authority is not supposed to give completion certificate if project is in this kind of a condition.
Does the authority entertain individuals?
Yeah, they entertain individuals. So, in fact, in Noida, before giving CC, authority advertised that if any buyer or any stakeholder has any problem with this apartment in giving the completion certificate or accepting it as a completed project, please write to us. And if you will write to us, that all this problem, all these issues will be sorted out in a conciliatory meeting with developer and the buyer, and in that authority will also sit. So they should complain to the authority that this project, and in fact at that time itself they should have complained to the authority. Even now, if it is not completed and completion certificate has been secured, then they should write to the authority that project is not completed, because recently, if you remember, this Unitech, one of the project in Greater Noida, which was given completion certificate, has been revoked and has been said that no, boss, this project is not complete and the builder has to complete the project again. Similarly, in this case also, they can approach the authority.
So for those JP buyers who showed us incomplete project photographs, saying that that is what the developer has handed over to you, telling you that there has been an OC and a CC that has been received, our suggestion is, and that's what Prabhakar is saying, go to the authority, make your complaint. The authority is looking into these complaints. Before a CC is given, the authority actually publishes it in the newspapers, and as consumers, you have the right to go back to the authority and show photographs saying that my house is not complete, how can you hand over a CC to the developer? There is a conciliation meeting with the developer, the authority and the consumer, and you should be availing of this feature. Please make sure that you avail of this.
Now, right now there is some issues, particularly because authority has started giving tower-wise completion certificate. So, in that what happens that the entire campus is not very well done, and the common area is not constructed, whereas in Gurgaon, first they have to complete the common area, then after they have to complete the tower, and then only the CC is given. But in Noida, that requirement is not there. They have to just complete a tower, and common area they say that they will construct later, and still they get the tower-wise completion certificate.
So livability becomes an issue here, because See, what we're explaining and understand, because this is important. One is that if you're in Gurgaon, the common areas have to be completed before the developer can get a completion certificate. The OC and CC are the occupancy and completion certificates, and the developer has to get both before he can hand over the project to the consumer. In Gurgaon, the common areas are first completed and then the OC and CC are given. Tower, even if it is one tower, it has to be complete from the external perspective. In Noida and Greater Noida, if the tower is complete and he can give you the occupancy of that tower, even without completing the external infrastructure, because that will be completed in when the whole phase is complete.
Yeah, and then they will receive the completion certificate of that entire project. But before that, they get the tower-wise completion and they start giving the position of the tower-wise completion. Right. Not only that, if they pay proportionately the land cost or other dues to the authority, then the authority also allows them to register that flat also tower-wise. But of course, there is an issue in this kind of a thing, and this is being done so that the buyers can start living in their apartment, and they should not pay both the rental and the EMI both at the same time for long without living in the apartment. But here in this kind of a case also, now
you can have serious problems with children tripping, older people tripping, and things like that.
This upon the builder and the authority that this project should be registered in the RERA.
Yeah.
Now they should register in the
RERA. And
RERA.
the project has to be registered in RERA so that you have an authority to go to and say that if the livability is not good, you should be able to make your complaint to the RERA authority. You have to insist that that project is registered under RERA. In fact, Prabhakar, from January onwards, all incomplete projects are under RERA in the Noida, Greater Noida area.
If they are saying that, oh no, we have applied for the CC, no. Even if they have, because there was some time gap, some time has been given to them to applied projects get the completion certificate till September or October, so that they apply and get it. But now 45 days after that, that is by December at least, by December those projects have not received completion certificate, they must apply to RERA.
Right.
They must apply to RERA and they should be registered with the RERA. Now, even now if they are saying it that no, we have applied for, that is not the excuse.
And that excuse finished in December.
Yeah, that excuse should not be accepted.
Yes.
That is what the authority is saying. But unfortunately, none of the authority advertise it. None of the authorities say it up front that all of these projects should register themselves.
Right.
That when you talk to them, they say that yes, they, now if they are not, they have not received the completion certificate, they must be in with the RERA. But then I say that why don't you put it out on the website itself?
Yeah.
But like in Haryana, there is no website. In UP also, the website is very in the initial stages itself. It is not very up and working kind of a website.
Consumers, we feel that the authorities are dragging their feet. The reason why we are doing this show is because we want to impress upon you that the money is yours, the house is yours, the livability is yours, and if anybody can get positive change done, it is when you form pressure groups and you start talking. And that's exactly what happened when the NCLT declared that the bankers were the secured lenders and the consumers were considered unsecured lenders. Then what happened was that the consumers raised the issue in the Supreme Court, and it is being considered there, and consumer interests today are being taken care of.
Yeah.
In fact, we were talking to some of the developers who are conciliators in the Maha-RERA, which is the best functioning RERA in the country today, and one of the things that he said is that most of the RERA authorities are in favor of the consumers and not of the developers. Therefore, as consumers, if you can form pressure groups, you can fight for your rights, the authorities and the courts are in your favor. And the reason why we are doing this is because the RERA authorities have not advertised on their websites, like Prabhakar said. They have not advertised that if these problems are there, come to RERA, it can be addressed, there is conciliation possible. But we are telling you because we feel that as consumers, you need hand-holding and you need to be able to
aware of it and should go. You should be proactive today. You should not wait for the authorities to come to your rescue. You will have to go and complain, and I hope that they will come to your rescue at least.
Right. Prabhakar, you raised the issue of rent plus EMI, and this is a big issue for many consumers. In fact, Maharera has, in one of the cases, has awarded one of the buyers almost 90,000 rupees in rent because that consumer said that he was supposed to get possession of a flat on a certain date, and if the delivery has not happened, it has to be the developer's responsibility. Maharera has agreed, and what they have said is that the developer has to pay the consumer whatever rent he's paying today. The developer has to take that on, and this happened in a conciliation meeting in Maharera very recently. Now let's talk about the rental amounts. We see that there are developers like Gore who are advertising that we will allow you to stay in some of our flats, or we will help you we'll try and take the rental load off you. Help us understand what's happening in the NCR.
For this sake only, remember when the projects are getting delayed and some of the projects, then after the authority came and told the developers that why don't you people complete the projects tower-wise, and despite the fact that entire project is not complete and the common area is not complete, authority said it that if the buyers are ready to take these flats, the flat position of these flats, despite the fact that the common area is not complete, we will allow you to give them the CC, but you will have to make certain provisions so that no accidents should happen and all those kind of a thing, and so that the buyer comes and start living in that, and so that he should not pay both the rentals and the EMI. Now, here again in Noida side also, in the Noida, Greater Noida or Gurgaon side also, the developers are today of the delayed projects. I have talked to number of developers, more than a dozen of developers. They are ready to pay this much demurrage that if my project is delayed and if buyer wants, we are ready to pay the rental, prevailing rental of that area in which he have bought the flat. Now suppose somebody has bought a flat in Noida extension, now Greater Noida. Now if the rental of that area of a 3-bedroom flat is say 20,000 rupees, developer is saying that we will pay him 20,000 rupees rental, or say in Dwarka Expressway the rental is 35,000 rupees per month. Then the developer are saying that boss, we are ready to pay him 35,000 rupees per month because my project is delayed, and the buyer should come and take that much more. But the issue is this, that many buyers, and rightfully so, because they are getting that kind of a order from the court, they are saying that no, for the delayed period, if the developer is delaying the project inordinately, that is not because of certain reasons which is justifiable, the delay, then he has to pay at least 10% to 12%. In many cases, NCDRC is asking them to pay 12% kind of a return per month, per annum, or as a demurrage. Now this is too much. Many of the developers then have moved to the court, and it is a protracting legal battle is going on that whether they
see, the law is in your favor. The law allows you to ask for that much money, but remember that you are fighting a difficult battle. You want your houses. If the developer starts paying out rentals, or if the developer starts paying out what do you call it? The interest rates, then what will happen is that there won't be enough money to complete the project. And we do assume that you want the project completed. So take what is being due to you. Let the project be completed. After that, you can continue fighting in court. You can continue asking for your damages.
That you can do anytime. But right now, at least, what buyer should work for, that the project should be completed in tandem with the developers and all that.
So ask for the developer to pay your rental amount so that your immediate problem is solved. Pay your dues and make sure that your project is going into completion. A couple of shows ago, we had got one gentleman from the Times of India itself who had ensured that the project is complete. They had created an escrow account in 2015 onwards, and tower by tower, the consumers used to put whatever remaining receivables were there, they put it into an escrow account, and they made sure that the developer completes the project tower by tower. As soon as one tower, all the receivables have come, the developer has a little extra money which he can use to complete the next project. That way, the whole project is complete. Once the project is complete, you are within your rights to go to RERA and say, or to the National Consumer Redressal Forum, and say that you need to get your
interest for the delayed period.
For the delayed period, but allow projects to go through to completion. And if the current problem is that you can't take two big chunks of expenses, one is the EMI and the other is the rental, ask the developer to pay your rental so that you can take the project through to completion. Prabhakar, there are some queries that have come to us. There is Neeti Verma of Gurgaon who says, I booked a 2 BHK flat in an under construction project. My tower is not ready, but other towers are already completed in my project. What should I do?
You should shift.
You should shift. You should shift your buy from one of the tower that you had booked earlier to one that is complete. In case you don't want to do that, the other option you have is to ask your developer, can you stay in a completed unit which is unsold in the completed projects till your unit is complete, so that you are free of the rental cost. There is Dharmesh Singh of Noida who says, I bought a 3 BHK flat in a project which is almost 8 years late. Some towers are ready. And we have asked the builder to give us the possession of those flats, but he says that those flats are also booked. What are my options?
Now, if there is no unsold units left in those completed towers, then certainly developer cannot give him or give her. But in that case, I mean, he should ask at least for the rentals.
Yes, you should ask for the rentals, and you should be able to go to the RERA authority and make a complaint because it is 8 years late.
Yeah. And ensure that first of all it should be registered with the RERA. I don't know whether this project is registered with the RERA or not.
Yeah.
Now, if it is not, then he should go to the RERA and ask the RERA to direct that developer to register with the RERA and then file complaint against them that they have not completed the project and now my delay is this much, so at least ask them to pay the rents for my house which I am living in the nearby or in those projects itself.
So go to the RERA website, check whether this project is registered under RERA. If it is not registered, please make sure that you make a complaint that this project should be registered under RERA. After that, you can ask for the rent to be paid, your rent to be paid, because you are hit with a double whammy. One is the EMI and the other is the rental. There's Mohan Kumar of Greater Noida who wants to buy a 1 BHK flat in a project which is half completed. Builder has promised that if my flat is not ready, he will give me possession in the completed unit or some other project. Should I book his flat? No. If there are completed units in some other,
why not buy that itself?
Don't wait for developers to give you what they are promising today. We would suggest that go for completed units. In fact, most end users today are going for completed units and not under construction units, because the market is still not sorted. There are many problems with cash flow, with completion. There are even with the RERA authority, there are problems in the NCR. So we would say buy a completed project if you're buying today and not an incomplete. And also you save on GST. Right? Yeah. In a completed project, you save on GST. In an under construction project, you have to pay
GST.
You have to pay GST. There is Amrita Sharma of Hyderabad who says a project is delayed for more than 5 years. However, there are 2 towers in my project which is almost ready. What can I do in this case? Amrita, exactly the same thing. Go for the completed, go negotiate with your developer and ask for a unit in the completed project. If that is not possible, ask for the rent that you're paying monthly, so that the developer feels the pinch of the rent rather than you. There's Brijesh Kumar of Faridabad who says, many units are ready in my project, but the work in my tower hasn't even started. And this is a common complaint across the NCR. The builder has given another timeline, but I cannot wait for that long. Please ask the builder to give you a completed project.
Get the project registered with the RERA first and then to complain to the RERA, ask the RERA to negotiate and go for the conciliation, and in which RERA most probably will settle with the rental at least for his flats, or otherwise
through conciliation,
or otherwise ask him to pay the interest of the entire amount.
Brijesh, you fall under the Haryana RERA. Haryana has 2 RERAs, one is for Gurgaon and one is for the rest of Haryana. Yours will be headquartered in Panchkula, and because there is no website, you will have to actually write to the RERA authority, or you will have to send an email to the RERA authority asking to know whether this project is registered under RERA. If you don't get any response, please raise the issue again and we will address it in a further show. There's Mohit G of Noida who says, is it possible to move into the completed project of a builder whose second project is delayed? The builder is offering me possession in the completed project.
Yeah, you should go for it.
You should go for it. In fact, that's the point we're making right now. If it is in the completed
And most of the
project,
developers are offering this nowadays.
Yes.
So they should go for it. They should avail that facilities.
yes. And please do not get emotionally attached to a project that you bought a long time ago. You will have a problem if that project is delayed, and it's much better to resolve the problem. There is Amrish Kumar of Delhi who says, my builder has offered me possession in a tower where half the units are ready while the other half are still remain for furnishing. When I asked the builder to finish the entire tower, he offered me possession into another tower which is ready but have small size units. Should I consider such an offer?
Now, both the units are good. Even if suppose the tower is complete, but the furnishing has to be done. Now, in all the cases, when an apartment is given for the after completion given for the possession, then after taking the possession only, the developer complete the project, complete the inside furnishing and all that thing. So, if the developer is offering him that kind of an apartment which is not furnished today for the possession, then he should go for that.
Yes.
I mean, what is the problem in that?
The only problem there is, I think there will be a lot of workmen there. There will be, I think when he says furnishing, in some cases, some of the completed units which are handed over, the tiling is complete, the electrical fixtures is complete. But in the rest of the units, as people take possession, all this work goes on. And yes, it is a hassle. When you're staying in a unit and there are 3 other units around you where there will be workmen, there is a safety concern and there are issues. You can talk to your developer and make sure that he ensures your safety. In fact, one of the projects that we went to, we found that there was a lot of work going on, and the developer had given extra security within the building, and wherever there is a occupied flat, there was a guard posted there. Because these are things that you must be careful about, because even though it's a question of your house, your safety also comes first. And therefore, if the developer is giving you a house where all the units are not fully furnished, we do believe that you can ask for extra security.
You are right there. I mean, they must ask for that, and developers should provide that also, that extra security to them. But going for that kind of a flat, I don't think is a big issue. Yeah. I believe because nowadays, wherever I have gone, even the best of the builders in Greater Noida, even in Gurgaon, now they furnish the project like the tilings or the electricity fixing and all those, only after the buyers pay that 5% amount. And ask for the possession.
Yes.
Then only they do all those things, and then after.
And I think the concern he's raising is that there will be too many workmen around.
Yeah.
You should ask for 2 things. One, if there are multiple lifts, make sure that one lift is only for residents and the workmen use another lift, so that if material and all that is being carried, it should be in service elevators and not in the regular residence lift. The other thing is that if there are 2 or 3 consumers staying on one floor and the rest of them are being fitted out, you can ask your developer to post a security guard there so that your safety is taken care of.
Yeah.
The issue that we've raised today is of great importance. Consumers have paid a lifetime savings to buy a house. The houses are delayed, and this is an interim period. Going forward, we don't expect this kind of delay. But because RERA authorities are in place across the country, some places they are very efficient, some places they are yet to be to become efficient. But the authorities are more or less set up in all the places. But if you've put in your money, it's your right to make sure that you get a completed house. And what are the options that are open to you? We thought it is important that you raise this because so many consumers have already started raising these issues. Prabhakar, any closing comments from you?
Yeah, basically here the buyers should go asking for their rights. They must go to the developer, they must go to the authority, and they raise their issues that. And now look, when you are buying a house, then you are buying a good living. So whatever all those is required for that, you can raise this before the authority that I am not going this, and you must ensure that we should get it. Let me tell you that authority is today listening to you, and they will give ear to your views and points. but you will have to go and ask for it.
And be rational about it. You go step by step. The first thing is that you want the unit that you have bought handed over to you, so that you don't have to pay both the rent as well as the EMIs that you're paying. The second thing is that you want the livability and the proper finishing around your house, so that you know that your lifestyle is also matched well. The third thing is that there has been a delay and you want the developer to pay the penalty, and you should be doing that after the project is complete, after your tower is complete. Then you can go to the RERA authority and ask for,
Or the court further.
or to the court. But we feel that if RERA is holding conciliation meetings, please don't take that lightly. Go for conciliation meetings. All authorities, including the courts, the RERA authorities, everybody is batting for the consumer today. Thank you so much for watching This Week in Property.
Thank you.